coming. I didn't see this coming. Hello one and all, welcome to Seeing Through Glass. Welcome to my new daily, an Audi RS6. So a quick reminder or explanation, just in case you somehow missed the My Next Daily series, unlikely I will admit, or perhaps you're new to this channel. Towards the end of last year, I announced I was looking to replace my BMW X3 M40i. And after an extremely long and quite drawn out process, I finally chose this 2021 Audi RS6. Now, as I mentioned, that's probably come as a surprise to many of you because, well, firstly, this car's very expensive, and secondly, I've often said I'm not a huge RS6 fan. So I reckon let's pull over, let me show you around this incredible car, and then we'll get into how and why I went from a 40 grand BMW X3 to a 120 grand Audi RS6. Now, I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear me say that one of the major deciding factors in me choosing an RS6 as my new daily is the specification of this car. It's green with tan, one of my all-time favourite colour combinations. Now, I've got to be honest, in recent months, maybe even over the last year or so, Instagram has kind of ruined green with tan cars for me. It just feels like everyone in the world is ordering their new cars green paint and tan interiors. It's a bit overdone, but when I saw pictures of this thing, I just fell in love immediately. Now, aside from the fact that I love this colour combination, another reason why it kind of pushed me to go out and actually buy one of these cars is because here in the UK it's very rare to see a new RS6 that's not black with a black interior, or silver with a black interior, or grey with a black interior. It's because Audi offers very few options for the new RS6 here in the UK. This is an Audi exclusive paint. It's expensive, it's about £3,000, and that kind of deters people from choosing exclusive colours on their RS6s when they're ordering. On top of that, it kind of delays the delivery of your car. So yeah, as I say, most people just choose the standard range. I mean, the minute I saw this thing, I knew if I didn't snap it up, it'd probably be quite a long time before I saw another green with tan car on the market. Audi officially call this Goodwood Green. It's one of about 5 greens they offer in their exclusive palette. Whilst it looks kind of flat from afar, it's actually highly metallic, and I wonder if I'm going to be able to get the camera to pick this up, but it's got a whole load of flake, meaning as you move around or in different lights, the colour changes quite a lot, and you can see at the front, it's poking out into the sun. It's a very sort of vibrant, if not a bit bluey green, whilst around the back, it's now sort of desaturating into a sort of dark, luscious, deep green. I'm a huge fan. Audi fans out there would have realised that not only does this car have exclusive paint, but it's also a Vorsprung, the top level spec for the new RS6, which means it comes loaded with kit. And on top of that, there are a few final optional extras, so let me show you around those. Now, these wheels do come as standard when you get a Vorsprung car, but what I love is they have the matte titanium finish. I've seen some cars where basically some of these sort of grey titanium parts are finished in black, and I just don't like the way it looks as much, so I'm super happy with these wheels. Now, unbelievably, those red brake calipers are a £500 option, and I actually am not that big a fan because there's not really any red on this car apart from the RS6 badge and the tail lights. I think they just look a bit awkward, so kind of want to paint those, I think probably silver or maybe even black, so yeah, they're probably going to change at some point. Talking about making things silver, the Vorsprung cars automatically come with the black pack, meaning you get this super aggressive black front grille and black Audi badge, you get these black wing mirror covers, black surrounds on the windows, black roof rails, etc. The standard cars, it's kind of a, well, I wouldn't call it silver or chrome. It's maybe a sort of matte aluminium style finish. I think I might prefer it. I don't know. The last few days I've got used to the black pack, but I'm not usually a massive black pack fan on the car. So watch this space. I may be returning things like these kind of blades on the front grille, the badge at the front, the side skirts, etc., back to a kind of matte aluminium finish. What do you think, people? I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but let's wait and see. Going back to the wheels for a second, another thing which I think I'm definitely going to change is the tyres. For some reason this car's come with Hankook tyres, so I'll probably be swapping those out fairly soon, I imagine. Well, now I'm back inside the RS6, I can talk to you about the tan part of this green and tan car. Now officially, according to Audi, these seats aren't tan, they're brown. This colour is called cognac brown, and it is just sumptuous. Oh, every time I step in here, every time I look at this car and look through the windscreen, I'm like, oh, it's such an inviting cabinet. Honestly, for me, it's the piece de résistance. We'll get into it later, but originally I was looking for an RS6 with the tan interior. Then I saw this one with the green exterior and was like, it's meant to be. Now, as I mentioned, Vorsprung cars come very highly equipped. We've got radar guided cruise control, soft closed doors, heads up display, Bang & Olufsen sound system, pano roof. I mean, I sort of almost forget all the different bits and bobs this car has. Optional extras in here, well, it's really just this, the carbon twill inlays, and £780. Interestingly for me, it's got a load of touch screens. So I just come out of an X3 which had a lot of physical buttons, and in my kind of summary of my experience living with that car, I talked about how I quite liked a physical button. Well, I've got to get used to now having haptic touch screens. They are beautiful to look at. It just takes me a while to figure out what to push, when and where. But as a place to be, as a place to spend many, many miles, which is what I'm hoping to do in this car, I actually can't think of many better cabins. Now, before we head back out onto the road and talk more about this amazing car, lots of you noticed that recently I haven't been wearing my Omega Speedmaster. I've been wearing this Tag Heuer Carrera, which I've had for about a year or so now. Well, that reminded me to remind you about Chronext, who at Christmas very kindly offered you a discount code if you were buying a watch from their website. Well, they're back to offer STG viewers double the discount. So if you now buy a watch from Chronext, you'll get double the discount you could have got at Christmas. If you don't know about Chronext, they have over 7,000 watches from 49 different makes, and what's great is whenever they bring a watch into their marketplace, it goes through their sort of very detailed workshop, meaning they offer all their watches with 2-year warranty. Better than that, for someone like me, who's a sort of ultimate watch window shopper, you can try before you buy. They have outlets all over the place, meaning you can order a watch to one of the outlets, go check it out, inspect it yourself, try it on. If you like it, you buy it. If you don't, well, it just goes back to their HQ. No commitment. So yeah, it's absolutely ace. I spend my life browsing their stock. If you are into your watches, if you're intrigued by things like Tag Heuer Carreras, I'll put a link below with that discount code which would have appeared on screen. Head over, have a browse, maybe get yourself a new watch for a discount. Anyway, as you can see, this car has huge exhausts, so let's head out and see what they sound like. Bruce! Hey, Bruce! Bruce, what do you think of the car? Good? Cool. It's my mate Bruce. Today I'm filming in the New Forest, which if you don't know, it's one of the most beautiful parts of England, but it's filled with wild horses. It's not a joke, that was a wild horse. They're everywhere and they pop out of nowhere, so you've got to be a bit careful and watch the speed. It's no bad thing because we've got plenty of time to extract all the power and potential of this car. I have many plans to take this thing many places that will involve a lot of full throttle. But not only am I today watching out for the horses out there, I'm also watching out for the horses in there, in the engine bay, because this car's brand new. I picked it up with 26 miles on the clock. I don't think you really have to run in cars these days. I think that's a thing of the past, but I still try to be a little bit careful, at least for the first 1,000 miles. I kind of want to baby it to begin with, but 600 miles already on the clock, so we'll be at that magical or mysterious 1,000 miles that I've made up in my head very shortly. Now, whilst this car is new, I didn't actually order it from the factory, as maybe you'd worked out by the fact that I kind of want to make some small changes or tweaks. It was actually ordered by Bay Tree Cars. Now, I've been kind of keeping an eye on Bay Tree Cars for a while, because they always seem to have very interestingly spec'd cars for sale. I mean, case in point, this RS6. But yeah, your sort of standard sports and supercars, but just really nice examples. So when I'd kind of figured out that the RS6 was the direction I was going in, I'd jumped on Auto Trader and put in the key criteria of cognac brown interior, and the one and only sort of listing at the time was a placeholder ad from Bay Tree Cars with no imagery but a description saying green and tan RS6 coming soon. So I dropped them a message on Instagram and I was like, tell me everything. Turns out some of the team watched my videos, which is always nice to hear. They were super enthusiastic, I was super excited, and it just felt like it was meant to be. So yes, about 5 days or so ago, I headed up to Bay Tree for the first time, checked out their showroom, which has some pretty amazing stuff in it, and collected this RS6. Now, this is kind of my first new car since the McLaren 540c, which also I didn't order, but I picked up as the first owner with minimal miles on the clock. And it's a very special moment, and Bay Tree made it a special moment, so huge thanks to them. And as I say, if you're interested in the finer examples, check out their stock. Another thing I love about the New Forest, you can just find amazing picnic spots everywhere. It's just the best. Anyway, you're probably still wondering, how did I get to that point of basically going onto Auto Trader and searching for an RS6 to buy and finding this one? Because when I kick-started the hunt for my next daily, told you I wanted an SUV, and I insinuated my budget was a lot lower than this car ended up costing me. But that wasn't a lie. When I thought about replacing my X3, I did think I wanted another SUV, and I thought I'd end up spending a lot less money than I have on this thing. But as time went on and as my thoughts evolved, I just kind of ended up here. Essentially, at the very end of last year, as I came back from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, I'd found a green with tan X3 M40i, a brand new facelift car that was supposed to be coming to the UK at the beginning of 2022. I thought, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. I love the X3 so much, I'm just going to get a new one. And then I found out that that car had been reserved. When I inquired about ordering my own car, I was told that BMW aren't taking exclusive paint orders right now because of the global production delays that every manufacturer is suffering from. So I was like, oh, what do I do now? But at that point, I kind of come to terms with the fact that I was going to go and finance a new X3 for around £1,000 a month. So I thought, I wonder what else I could finance for around £1,000 a month, because it's a significant step up from my old X3. So I jumped onto the Magnitude Finance calculator and just started throwing cars in, just everything I could think of, everything you suggested, every car that Tony at Gravelwood Car Sales was pressuring me to buy from, I think, his stock list. And that's when I kind of stumbled across the fact that a brand new RS6 was only going to be a few £100 more per month to finance than the brand new X3 M40i, which I'd kind of already decided that I could afford. At that point, I was like, well, if I could potentially go and buy what everyone considers to be the greatest daily in the world for only a few £100 more than a car that I was already prepared to buy, surely that's what I should do? It's a bit of man maths, isn't it? But the more I thought about it, the more excited I got. And whilst I've knocked this car for the hype around it being the best daily driver, It simply is. And whilst I hadn't driven this new shape, I'd always been intrigued by it, and I knew it wasn't going to be bad. And if I was ever going to spend a whole load of money on a car, surely it should be the car that I'm driving every day. Because this is my daily driver. I'm going to use it and abuse it and depreciate the hell out of it, I'm sure, but really enjoy it. So yes, I've surprised myself. I'm sure I've surprised you. Maybe some of you will be a bit disappointed. It's not the first time a green RS6 has been on a UK automotive YouTube channel. I'm sure it's not the first time you've seen an Audi RS6 video on automotive YouTube. But I'm going to use this thing to go out and do amazing adventures and live my best life like you guys keep allowing me to do. And in this spec, with this power and everything this car's capable of, it's going to be pretty good. I mean, look at this. I'm just even loving this, just sitting here eating a tuna and sweet corn sandwich in the New Forest in this stunning car. It's amazing. This thing's outrageous for its size. The way it picks up speed, it's a little bit terrifying, I've got to be honest. You know what, I've just realised I'm a bit of a V8 obsessive. My garage is now filled exclusively with V8s. Obviously this big twin turbo V8, the Ferrari 360 and naturally aspirated V8, and the F-Type, a supercharged V8. It's just the best engine though, isn't it? Oh, I adore them. And I already adore this car. It is turning out to be fairly miraculous, I have to say. But it's just the beginning. I've got a lot to figure out. This is very much an introductory video. So I've already mentioned big speed, big power videos to come. But I also want to show you what it's like to live with this thing, because it's a big car. In and around London, it is a big car. In terms of width, we're approaching Defender width, way off X3 width. So God knows what width restrictions are going to be like. And fuel economy is turning out to be rather interesting. I'm seeing a lot of single-figure MPGs, which, oh yeah, anyway, but that's part of the experience, isn't it? So yeah, look, I hope you're excited. I hope you're intrigued. I'm super happy and really glad that I've ended up with this car. So give it a thumbs up if you're excited and ready for all the future content. Make sure you stay subscribed for all the RS6 adventures ahead, and I'll be back with you very soon.